What about
Yeah.
yourself, Olivia? Can you tell us a little bit about you? It's just like, I don't want to take as direct excerpts out of your book, who it is that you are, what you do, and why you're here. I think we were just chatting to
Also
about
have
it.
it just here.
Yeah.
Just
We
Thank you.
were chatting about this before because I said to the boys, I was like, it's the turning point. It was when I read that first, the page one. There's a second, the moment you start reading on page one, it's like you're talking about this turning point that happened in your life, and that was kind of like, I was like, okay, we're on for a story here. And do you want to talk a little bit about that and kind of where you found yourself in life and where you're finding yourself in life right now?
Yeah, sure. So I think like the turning point that you're referring to is when I was in hospital at the age of 17 in an eating disorders unit. And I wanted to go out to my friend's 18th party and I couldn't because I wasn't well enough. And I realized if I didn't change, that I wouldn't just miss out on that birthday party, that I would miss out on everything in life. And it really dawned on me. I was like, I've got two directions I can go. I can continue just being sick, or I
oh no.
decide something, I really go for it. And it was really like, okay, instead of throwing all of my energy towards being unwell, let's throw all of my energy towards being well. And, with that intention, leaning on support, just following advice, I made really good progress really soon. And it really just, that transformation going from that really dark period to that bright period, it helped me understand that's what I wanted to do for other people.
Mhm.
So that was sort of what set me on my journey. And then I knew I needed to complement my own experience with like education. So I studied a Bachelor of Social Science Psychology, a certificate of sleep psychology, diploma of health science nutritional medicine, and a certificate 3 and 4 in fitness, and started doing wellness coaching. And then I had some sleep clients got really good results, started telling other people about it, realized everyone needed help with sleep and nobody knew what to do. And then a few months later I was specialized in sleep, and then began working as like a media spokesperson for brands like Sealy and IKEA. So it all sort of evolved pretty fast when I decided sleep, but like the build up to that, there was like, a good like 9 years of study. And then, prior to that, there was, I think like I specialized in sleep in 2018. And then, 2018, I started studying in 2008, and I had my like kind of turning point in probably 2007
Yeah,
maybe, or 2006 I think,
yeah. It's a
something like
it's a great little time scale. I appreciate that time scale you kind of sent out there because it wasn't just like you were in hospital sitting in this bed and having this dark moment in your life, and then you woke up the next day and you started writing a book about sleep. It was like
that.
there was like significant growth that had to occur in that time. I'm really interested about the Cert 3 and 4 in fitness. Obviously, that was one of the things that when I can't remember what it was called. I think it was Collins, the bookshop that I was in, and I'd picked up your book and I was like, Wolf, Lion, and Bear, and I love lions, and I was like, what is this? And opened it up, and it was like, a little bit about you, and it said Cert 3 and 4, and I was like, all right, what's going on here? It's like, what was the impetus to Cert 3 and 4 in fitness?
Yeah, sure. So I've always been like lifestyle first, then, and like money second.
Mhm.
Like all of the jobs I've ever had, it's not been thinking, oh, how can I make the most money? It's like, well, I like doing this, so I'll do it, I'll enjoy it, and then I'll make money from it as a passageway. So like my first like proper job, was a model because I like getting photos taken of myself.
Don't we all? Yeah.
You just don't get paid for yours.
Yeah, except no one wants to see mine. Yeah.
And then PT, I love fitness. I love training people. I get such joy out of it. So I was like, oh, I'll be a PT.
Yeah.
And also it was like I just I knew I was going into the wellness space. I knew I didn't I did my Bachelor of Social Science and majored in psych, but I knew I didn't want to be a psychologist. I always viewed myself as like a wellness expert. I just didn't know what, but I knew that I needed to have a knowledge of various elements of wellness, which is why I always wanted to have nutrition, fitness, and psychology. And then I was studying, and then sort of sleep was like, oh, that would make sense to, add that in. So, so that's why I studied Cert 3 and 4 in fitness, because plain and simple, I love fitness. And I was like, well, if I'm going to do something for a job, I want to love it. So I'd love to be PT.
Yeah, touche. And what actually quantifies someone as a sleep expert?
I don't know if there's like a quantifiable measure. I guess, so if you hear something barking, that's my dog. I'm not really sure. This is what I'm termed in the media. So if they say that I'm Australia's leading expert, I'm not going to push them down.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Take that, 100%. Hey, if someone's saying it, there's a reason, right?
We title ourselves Australia's leading strength and conditioning brand, and you know what? We're
manifesting it.
It's still taking off slowly, but manifest, right?
Get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it's quite awesome that you talk about being very like holistic with, you wanted to have that sort of experience in many different areas to sort of call yourself that really wholesome sort of wellness coach, and you've got like those multiple different disciplines, because most people you do speak to is just like, oh cool, I've just got a Cert 3, 4, or I've just got this in this, whereas you've gone the route of what can I do to, I don't know, give, I guess, the person I work with the best opportunity across the board in health and wellness. And yeah, you've obviously gone and done everything you could possibly do. So it's really awesome.
You're an aggregate of information. It's like one person can come to you and get everything almost, which I think is it's exceptionally powerful. So do you find yourself working with people? I mean, like, do you operate out of a clinic? How is it that you go about your daily life and work?
So I've got, I guess, two areas of my business. One is the sleep coaching element, which is sort of what you might think, working one-to-one with clients. I don't have a clinic because I use Zoom. So a lot of my clients are overseas. And I guess like any, what do I do with my clients? I combine my degrees and create step-by-step guides about how to sleep better and cater that to their lifestyle and cater that to their needs, wants, desires.
Yep.
Bit of one area of my business. So yeah, working one-to-one with clients. And then I guess another area of my business that I'm quite heavy in is media. I really enjoy, working in the media and giving advice more on that like global scale. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of my days are taking up with interviews, be it like radio interviews or print interviews or TV, or, writing for my column in Body and Soul, Sleepwell Wednesdays, working with brand partners. They might have some new research that I'm a media spokesperson for. So I'll need to, I guess, support support them with my expertise. And so, yeah, it's a bit of a mix, but I enjoy the mix.
So if someone comes to sees you for one-on-one coaching, do they get to sleep?
No.
That's not part of the deal. No, there's no sleep involved.
How do you I feel like I stand over them. I'm like,
it's like a 24-hour Zoom call where you're like lay in your bed.
Yeah.
That is the best business ever. I want to be part of that.
How do you find the balance of the media side? Media side, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. Does it ever get overwhelming?
Do you sleep?
Yeah, I do sleep. Yes, I occasionally. No, it does get overwhelming. I think it's been really helpful to keep things in perspective as well. Like, I used to put a lot more energy into my Instagram because I thought it was like the be all and end all and that it was so important. And then I sort of stopped and looked and I was like, wait a minute, in terms of like revenue, none of like very, very little of my revenue comes through Instagram. And so if I'm stressing about it as a work platform, but I'm not generating revenue from there, then, is it really valuable to stress about? And so I think, like when you're beginning into the space, you think Instagram's the thing, and you think that, you have to partner with everyone, and you have to, do all these Instagram lives and all these daily stories and all of that. And you put a lot of pressure on yourself, and it's just like, wait a minute, where is my business actually coming from? What's the actual points where people are, seeing me and that they're reaching out to me? And in my experience, like, it's some Instagram, but it's not the be all and end all. So I think I used to prioritize a lot more, but now I'm more comfortable because I know that, like, if I do it, it's great. Like, it's a bonus, but it's not like the core of my business. It's very different. I'm an expert first, then an influencer. It's very different if you're like, your primary business is Instagram and like you're an influencer first, and you don't have qualifications. And I always say this to my more my media and brand clients, like, I'm not the best influencer, but that's not my job. Like, most influencers didn't study for 9 years, so they can have their 200,000 followers. I can have my degrees.
That's it. With that kind of backpedaling a little bit and talking about your one-on-one process, because I don't think at least many of our listeners and even us sort of know that process of what going to a sleep specialist would look like. So when you sort of have that, I don't know, consultation or that person, what are you looking for? And moving forward, like, what's their process with you? So what kind of things would you be, I don't know, testing anything or questionnaires? Like, what does that process look like?
Yeah, sure. So we have, in our first session, we understand their key goals. We do some goal setting. We do a sleep survey. So I understand where they're at and what their baseline sleep is and where they want to go. And also understanding their key motivations for where they want to go. That's really important. After that, it's, in those surveys, it also takes into account their health history and the severity of their conditions, what they're currently doing, any medications that they're on, sort of a big old assessment about the things that they are doing that may influence their sleep. So health, what they're doing for diet, what they're doing in their bedtime routine, what they're doing in their morning routine. I really get across it all, because from that I can very easily pinpoint, okay, what are the key sleep saboteurs that are at play? And the first session is really like an education session, because most people, I feel like, they need to know, like, why can't I sleep? Because it's frustrating when you've got a problem, you just don't get it. Like, you're like, why is this such a problem? Everyone else can sleep, but why can't I sleep? And so they like to have that information and understanding. That's usually in the first session. And then, as well as in the first session, I give them like a step-by-step guide that they can use for like the next 7 days. Usually that's the frequency into 14 days, because we do a program. Usually it's a 3 to 6 month program where I'll see them on a weekly or fortnightly basis. And from that, I'll understand their goals, understand their key sleep saboteurs, then understand the step-by-step guides that they need to implement that night to start sleeping better. Another really great thing that I currently do in my programs is have like ongoing accountability for them, and then just checking them every so often via like WhatsApp. And so that means that they're not thinking, okay, cool, I've got this plan and I'm going to see Olivia in a fortnight's time or a week's time, and I just have to figure it out myself. I really want them to be guided and nurtured around that journey. And so, like the next day or a few days later, it's like, hey, how did you go? Did you encounter any problems? If you did, let's nut it out now. And so I think this is, because it is such like a guided, intimate process, I think this is why they get such great results. 100% of them have improvements in their sleep in less than 7 days. And so, I feel that The combination of giving them like, intensive support and a really straightforward, streamlined strategy, like step-by-step guide. It's like, at this time do this, at this time do this, at this time do this, avoid this, avoid this, avoid this. And literally give them like a spreadsheet so they can fill it in.
Yeah.
And and then so then when next time I meet them, I get them to fill out another sleep survey, and we say, okay, cool, here is your sleep 2 weeks ago before you were doing anything, and now here's your sleep now, and here has been the changes, how, what versus your game plan, your action plan that I gave you. What have you been able to execute? What have you not been able to execute? For the things you haven't been able to execute, why? How can we overcome it in the week ahead? And also, are we going to build on that plan, or are we going to maintain it? Which depends on how much they've been able to execute in the first week.
That's extensive. I like the fact that you give them this very streamlined process. What I thought, to my mind, you guys might have thought the same, was a constraints approach. It's like, I'm just going to tell you what you got to do and how you got to do it in order to improve your sleep. And it's like, you let them do that based on this process you've given them. And then they maybe start to realize as a result of that, and then they start to realize how much noise actually exists in life, and how everything around you has some sort of factor into how well you sleep, right? So I like that.
I like how you
it's really
of started off with the education route, like especially, at least, not that I have sleep expert experience, but like in my experience when I've had problems with my sleep, it's like, I think the biggest anxiety around it is not knowing like why can't I sleep, and then because I start thinking about that anxiety grows and grows and grows, and it makes me sleep even worse. So sort of starting off with that education piece, I think is like really a good approach.
Incredible part, like the communication part, and we've all had different types of education experience, and I know that a lot of time you don't really get taught how to communicate with clients or members and stuff, and as an online approach similar to you, sometimes it's hard to do that. How have you developed that over the years, that communication aspect?
I don't know.
just happened.
I love it.
I'm sorry.
Just a people person.
I think like I majored in psychology, and I've always had sort of an interest in what makes people tick, but also like, just kind of I think I always think like it has to be, in order for them to agree to something, they have to be clear about that it works for them, that it's not imposed on them, that it's like their partner in that process, and that it's focused on their goals. It's not me saying, okay, this is like, I'm like, this is my idea. It's like, no, you want to sleep better, and here are the keys that are going to help you sleep better. How is that going to impact you in your life? So always putting it back to the individual, and putting it back to relating to their goals. And that's often what I do in those checkups as well. It's like, are you sleeping better? Have you been able to, go on your, morning runs? Have you been able to play with your kids? Reminding them of the core reasons why they're doing it, because the more that they understand the reasons why, then the more they're going to be willing to invest in the changes, because like anyone knows, change is hard. But when you understand the reasons why, then you are motivated to do so. So I see it as my role as a coach to remind them of those reasons, and help them become conscious of those, and really drill it into them, essentially.
Mm-hmm. And do you help them understand who it is they are from the outset by talking about chronotypes and kind of selecting a chronotype or putting them into an appropriate chronotype? Because obviously the book is based on the 3 chronotypes, and we'll get into that a little bit deeper. But is that something you try to establish from the get-go?
Yeah, definitely. So my clients usually take a chronotype quiz. There's one on my website for anyone who is listening and wants to find it. But yeah, understanding your chronotype is really important, and can really help you understand why you haven't been able to sleep properly as well. For example, like wolves, the late chronotype, they are genetically predisposed to sleep around 12 a.m. and wake around 8 a.m. And if they wake before that, they're extremely tired, but also in the evening, they're not they're genetically predisposed to be quite alert in the late evening, and they also have greater patterns of addiction, including cell phone addiction. And so there's a lot of evidence around why they might not be able to sleep properly compared to like lions, for example, like you and I. And so
Hello.
if they know, I'm a lion too. So if they know that they're a wolf, then it can be really comforting, and it helps understand that, okay, there's nothing really wrong with me. It's just my biology. And, they can work with that. Whereas if you don't understand the reasons why, you just might think that there's a problem with you, or that, nothing is going to work for you, or, that you're just doomed for life.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives it a reasoning about why you might have been struggling with sleep, which I think people need to know.
Yeah, I definitely think get onto that little quiz and do your chronotypes. What are you?
Yeah, for those listening, if you want to find it, I'll place it in the show notes so you can follow that link and get that
me
done.
and Louis are both bears.
You're both bears.
Yeah.
Right, okay. There's
bears.
no overlap into anything else?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
I call myself a possessed bear. I'm just like... Nah.
Hey, Olivia, if you don't mind, we have this little segment in our podcast. It's just called Fire Starters, right? And it's just a suite of questions.
Usually done at the start.
Usually done at the start. It meant to be done at the start of the conversation. Fine, that's fine. And I've got 9 questions here for you today. And basically, you just answer yes, no, maybe, pass. Or you can elaborate as much as you want. Or you can swear at me and tell me to get lost. It's completely up to you. Are you ready for it?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Bear, lion, or wolf?
Wolf. Sorry, lion. Lion.
By the way, I'm providing zero context. That is the game of the game. And it's up to you to establish an answer. All right. Sleep or nutrition?
For what?
Health.
I mean, the topic of the conversation was sleep, right? And it's
Sleep,
like the
sleep.
What's that?
Sleep.
Yeah, okay. We'll go with sleep with that one. Blue light blockers or dim the lights?
Blue light blockers.
Jesus.
Snap straight
Where
on
are
that
yours,
one.
by the way? Why aren't you wearing them?
Otherwise, they look very strange, and it's only 5:30, so I don't need to put them on just
Are
yet.
they the yellowy speed dealer ones?
Are they next to you? Can you whack them on for us? Here we go.
Yeah, they are.
Can you put them on real quick? They look like John Lennon.
And then you'll understand why I haven't put them on.
Okay.
Like if anyone is going to pull them off, it's
groovy.
yourself over us for sure.
I love them.
Probably, I'm really intrigued in this one. Hopefully, we can kind of get into it a little bit further. Sex before or after sleep?
Well, it depends what you're wanting it for. If you want it to relax you before, if you want it to stimulate you after, depends on your preference, your chronotype. It also depends on your partner's preference. For people who can't switch off, before bed is great because it helps your body produce oxytocin, that love hormone, which relaxes you. If you feel like you're really exhausted and foggy in the morning, have a nookie. It'll help you get more energized and reduce your stress levels.
You know what a nookie is, right?
That's where I'm going wrong.
That's interesting. Yeah, wow. That's incredible.
Tiff, where are you?
Okay, here we go. Here's another one. Sleep with your partner or without them?
Depends how much you like them.
Seriously. And where I curated that question was from Matt Walker's sleep book, Why We Sleep. And in that book, he goes on to explain that he actually doesn't sleep in the same room or bed as his partner because he values his sleep so much. And he goes on to explain about that. And I was just like, I wonder what your
That
take
would not
would
happen for me. I'd be...
Yeah. It's like you probably wouldn't have a partner.
Been in a lot of
It's like,
trouble, yeah.
I think that's valid, but the thing is that you also would miss out on that intimacy, and I think that's a really big part of wellness and happiness and good quality relationships, which feeds into health and feeds into your ability to sleep properly. So yeah, I feel like that's an interesting one. I feel like if you have a partner and you're wanting to sleep together, then sleep together. Just do what you need to sleep well together. Maybe it's having one of those hybrid beds, for example, that has the two.
What's a hybrid bed?
Oh, the
What
two,
are they?
they're like split, man. So like you get tested, both people get tested.
Oh, so you don't feel them moving around. It kind of feels like you're in your own bed?
Kind of, but you can have different, like you can sleep on a firm while your partner can sleep on like a plush.
Oh.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
they're like custom made.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like basically it's 2 single beds, like snapped together.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting one. You know, there have definitely been nights where I'm just like, I wish I was just on my own in this bed, like just sleeping. It's like you get like some sort of irritability or frustration with someone being there. But I wonder if that's just like, you know, is that a relationship issue? Is that an intimacy issue? Is that like your chronotype saying no? Or it's like, you know, that's an interesting one. Maybe we can go into that a little bit further later on. The next one is sleep in or go to sleep earlier the next day.
Go to sleep earlier, 100%.
Do you just want to say that one again, just nice and loud, real quick? Okay. Lavender or CBD?
Lavender.
You'd never choose CBD?
No, not never.
Yeah.
I just recommend lavender more so.
Yep.
CBD is still quite new in the market, and you know, you need to have it provided, the dosage provided, and it needs to be correct, and it needs to make sure that it doesn't you know, not too strong, not too soft. Whereas lavender is a bit easier to you know, take via either lavender capsules, or if you want to put, you know, lavender diffused. It's a bit more, you know, it's not going to cause such an impact. And so I guess I prefer it like that, because it's like my other recommendations, like blocking out blue light and using magnesium, they sort of all work in a nice framework together.
On that, which magnesium is best? Because there's like a billion different magnesiums. Is there
a billion?
I don't know. Probably not a
Multiple.
billion. There's a lot.
Exaggerated.
There's a lot. You Google magnesium. There's like a lot. Is there a certain magnesium that people should take for sleep? Because I know that people are like, oh, I'm taking this magnesium for sleep, and it could be like completely different magnesium.
Yeah. So magnesium glycinate, biglycinate, diglycinate, or magnesium citrate.
Okay.
Did you have a poster on the wall there that you were looking at? I was like, how do you remember those?
No, it's sort of just, it's just like glycinate or bi or di or citrate.
Okay. So
Okay, you got that? I'm going to remember that little
Told
line.
you there's a lot of them.
The last one is coffee or green tea?
Green tea, 100%. It's got L-theanine, which helps calm the body as well. Instead of just using caffeine, which stimulates the body, I personally drink green tea, and I'm very sensitive to caffeine, but because it has less caffeine than coffee, about a third, but also because it has L-theanine, a calming property, you don't feel as wired, and it doesn't impact or impair your sleep as much as coffee does.
Was that the stuff you gave me once and it tasted
that
like
was-
boiled
it's called-
asparagus
it's called-
water?
No, it wasn't. It's called yerba mate. It's again better than caffeine, or sorry, better than coffee, so to speak.
Yerba mate is definitely better than coffee as well.
Yeah,
It
it's
tastes like boiled
Should
asparagus
a
water.
lion be drinking coffee?
A lion is able to drink coffee in the late morning. I wouldn't recommend start of the day, because we're typically super stimulated anyway. So if you have it too early, then you're going to basically like over stimulate your body and then lead to an even more significant crash come late afternoon.
There you go.
I wonder if that's like literally why I just crashed. I just feel like after lunchtime, productivity, see you later, non-existent, doesn't exist. Don't even ask me about it. But I wake up every single morning. It's like the first thing I do is like my eyes are still opening as I'm turning on my coffee machine. I just love coffee, right? But I don't. Oh, that'd be so hard. Yeah, I think so. That'd be so hard.
How about let's do a test for 7 days, or even just 2 days? Or
What do you want? Okay, I'm just going to write down. What do you want me to do? What do I need to do?
all right, a 3-day test.
Okay. I love that we
No
went from
coffee.
7 to 3. I'm so
I'm
happy.
holding him accountable to 7, though.
I was like 7. I was like, oh, it's a bit much.
No. I'm holding him accountable to it. We're doing 7.
All right, 3-day test.
3 days, no coffee until 11 o'clock.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm crying on this one.
But you can have a green tea instead. You can have 2 green teas instead that time.
before 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
You're going to be soaking those tea bags for ages trying to get like, where's the caffeine?
All right. That's awesome. I'll document that on my Instagram and I'll let you know how I go. I'm nervous. I'm not enjoying it, but I'm nervous.
And tag me on.
I will. Done. My next question for you is then, can chronotype... Sorry, go on.
I was about to say, if you were a bear though, bears, they're more foggy and fatigued. They can actually have caffeine a little bit earlier, so they can have around 8:30.
Yes.
Okay, you're a bear and you have coffees at 3 p.m.
Yeah, that's definitely not what a sleep expert would recommend.
That is why we have you on the
Luckily,
podcast.
I'm the fitness expert.
My next question is about chronotypes again. We had this conversation earlier on, you and I, and we'll talk about wondering whether chronotypes can actually change and vary throughout stages of life. And if they can, how frequently can they vary?
Sorry, you just broke up there, the connection.
I'm so sorry. You need to sort that out, man. Chronotypes. Can chronotypes change and vary throughout stages of life? And if they can, how frequently can that happen?
It's hard to say how frequently they will happen because there's biological reasons why they shift, which includes age. So when you're younger, you're a lion, like in childhood. Then in adolescence, you move into a wolf. Then in adulthood, you're a bear, and then in older adulthood, you go back to being a lion. There's also health conditions that can influence your chronotype. There's working conditions, shift work. And then there's the behavioral sleep habits. So behavioral influences, things like exposure to artificial light, eating patterns, exercise patterns, even what supplements you're taking, and what medication you're taking. These factors can influence your chronotype as well. So, there's not really like one, a standard, like how many times do we change chronotypes, because, how many times do we alter our lifestyles throughout a year? That could be zero times for somebody who doesn't like taking risks, like my mum. She likes everything the same all the time and does not like to go out of her box, which is completely fine for her. Yeah. And then there's somebody like me who, changes up my lifestyle regularly, and for a month I'll be doing this, and then for a month I'll be doing this, and then
That's Dennis.
It was interesting because before I joined the army, I used to work nights, right? And I did that for about 6 or 7 years. And at the time, I thought, whilst in that sort of life, I thought I was coping, and I thought it was okay, and I thought it was fine and whatever else. And it wasn't until I left, maybe like a year down the track, where I looked back on that time in my life, and I just realised how much productivity it was actually zapped in me during that time. And I was like, and that's where I kind of sparked the question. I was like, well, did I actually really change my chronotype just as a result of the life that I was living, or was I never actually changing it? Or did it change? So yeah, that explains a little bit then.
And with that, we have a special put out a call. Anyone interested in getting a call?
Oh, you want to move on to that?
Yeah,
we're diving in.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's a good question.
So the other day, you would have seen, I think, on our Instagram story, we put out, we're doing our podcast now where we're allowing someone to put in their mobile number and ask a question of the podcast guest. Are you okay with that?
of course.
All right,
We're the only ones doing it in Australia, so it's our claim.
So we're going to
Australia's #1 podcast callers.
We're going to call them now. It's going to go through the podcast and you'll be able to hear them.
Let's hope they answer this time.
They better. All right.
Oh, good.
All right. Hopefully it works.
Oh,
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
There you go.
Awesome.
Hello, Diana speaking.
Hello, Diana. You're on with the Robo Podcast.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? How's your day been?
Yeah, pretty good. Day off finally. So, just enjoying the relaxing.
Beautiful. Well, you are on with Australia's #1 sleep specialist, Olivia. We believe you have a question. Fire away.
I do. So I'm a police officer, and obviously doing shift work where it's so hard, like constantly changing sleep patterns. What's your best way to tackle that?
Shift. I'm gonna be honest with you. Shift working is a really difficult one to overcome because the body isn't designed to sleep through the day. But
Yeah.
something that I have used with previous private clients that have been shift
Yep.
workers, been on your last day of shift. It's your last night before you get home at, like 8 o'clock in the morning,
Yep.
and then you have the next day off. Instead
Yep.
of sleeping like the 8 hours as you would have done the previous few nights, sleep for
Yep.
only 3 hours, then
Yep.
wake up. And if you need to have a short nap in the
Mm-hmm.
afternoon, do so. Make sure it's no longer than 30 minutes though. And then,
Yep.
so what's going to happen is that day you're not going to be super bright and fresh because you have probably had only 3 hours of sleep, but
Mm-hmm.
you will shift back into your regular sleep pattern much more quickly, and therefore
Yep.
you'll that night you'll sleep quite well, and you'll get into that regular sleep pattern again.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, because at the moment, obviously, I just finished actually a night shift, and I had 5 nights in a row. 10p to 6a. I'd usually try and sleep until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then on the last day we had a quick shift, so I finished at 6 a.m. and I was actually back at work at 4 p.m. until midnight. So that was that's what I did last night. So I'm actually pretty tired right now.
Is that even legal?
I don't know. Ask QPS. Ask Queensland Police Service. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I don't know, to be honest. I just do what I'm told.
God.
Yeah. I think like
And I
outside
find
of that,
also, sorry.
all good, all good. Outside of that, if you want to, if you do have like a quick shift and that would only be sleeping for, obviously you can't sleep for 8 hours or, your full sleep cycles. So what I'd recommend is sleep in 90-minute increments. So for example, if you like, for as many as you can put together that your time allows for. So 3 hours or 4.5 hours or 6 hours. Say like they're all 90 minutes apart, because 90 minutes is a full sleep cycle. So if you wake up after 90 minutes, you're less likely to experience what's termed sleep inertia, which is when you wake up feeling super, super groggy. And a lot of us get this after a long nap. We wake up and we feel exhausted, like worse than before we napped. That's because you've woken up in deep sleep. Now, so if you set your alarm to a 90-minute increment, then that's going to be helpful. And then there's also smart alarms, like you can get them from the App Store or, whatever device you have, and they can wake you up within like a 30-minute time period when you're in your lightest stage of sleep. So again, that's going to mean that you're waking up in deep sleep, and that you're not or less likely to experience sleep inertia and feel groggy.
See, my problem is that's great. I'll probably test that out, but my problem is, like, I can't sleep during the day. So, like, I have to have earplugs in, and I need to have an eye mask on. And if at one point, like, even if I was to get up at 10 a.m. after, like, 3.5 hours sleep to go to the bathroom, there's no chance that I can go back to bed.
Need to take more lavender.
Yeah, or...
I was going to say, I have a signature bedtime routine that I recommended to all of my private clients. It's actually available as a downloadable ebook on my website. You're more than welcome to go there. That's oliviaarezzolo.com.au, and it's literally just a free download. And so the thing is that if you use that bedtime routine, even in the morning, and it doesn't take long, it can take, just 10 minutes to execute, you're more likely to sleep deeper than if you just simply go to bed and then, just fall asleep as soon as you get home. And this means that if you do then wake up, you're more likely to stay asleep, and be able to return to sleep.
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
see you with that routine, because that's what I advised with my previous clients with shift work, and it was really helpful for them. So I trust it'll be
Yeah.
helpful for you as well.
Awesome.
And yeah, it's a
Awesome.
free download on my website.
Awesome.
Awesome. We'll throw that link
Yeah.
up in the show notes as well if you want to jump on that,
Yeah.
Deanna.
But basically, long story
Awesome.
short, you can no longer be a police officer because sleep is much more important.
No, and I literally survive on just caffeine. So
Shift to green tea.
You're going to have to listen to the podcast when it's released, because we literally just stopped talking about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the call.
no worries.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right.
I think the next thing I really want to talk about, and you spoke a little bit about it, was what's that?
Napping.
No, not yet.
Talk about all right.
Sleeping sanctuary, like creating your little slumber, creating a room for it to be a sanctuary for sleep. And it's like, what are some things that you can offer that people can do pretty quickly and pretty easily without having to do much to make it a sanctuary?
Blue light glasses.
Yeah, right.
Love it.
Yeah.
And blue light free lights.
Oh.
Very helpful.
Oh.
Okay, cool. That's an interesting looking light.
Yeah, it's well, it can move about. See, it's like a little
It's a twisty
you
one.
can-
Yeah.
but yeah,
Ah.
Sorry, I'm archaic. I don't know these things.
it's green.
Because there are some interesting stuff that you said. You spoke a little bit about bedding as well, and doonas and pillows and all that kind of stuff. You want to talk a little bit about
What's the
that?
thread count? What's the best thread count?
Not 1,000.
Yeah, so I guess I started with blue light free lights, and the blue light free glasses, because you need to recognize they're the most important thing. You can have a great comfortable bed, and you can have, great sheets and, weighted blanket, but it's like training, in the gym, and you're doing really, really well in the gym, you're doing all the right exercises, but then like you're eating chocolate all day and you're like, I'm just not getting my gains. Something's not right. And you're like, yeah, it could be a diet, maybe. Just maybe. Right.
I'm getting gains, but not the ones I want.
So it's like the number one thing you need to do is mediate light in the evening. And that comes through blue light glasses and also using an eye mask.
We are definitely not doing that right
Because
now.
right now we've got how many lumens on us?
I don't know. There's a lot.
It's intense.
I have recommendations for both of those products in my sleep kit on my website.
Yep.
So I'll chuck you the link for that one, and then there's discount codes as well. So all of your listeners can have access to that.
Beautiful.
Which is
I'll be the first customer.
So they're the most important things. Outside of that, in terms of designing your sleep space and your sleep sanctuary, having sheets in a natural fiber really, really important. We've got to have 200 to 400 thread count, no higher, because otherwise it traps heat. You want to have the fabric, a cotton, linen, bamboo, very, very, very. Bamboo has been, I personally sleep on bamboo and I love it. It's great. And these fabrics support thermoregulation, which means that they absorb excess heat when you sweat, which keeps you cool, which is a core requirement for melatonin synthesis. Outside of that, a weighted blanket can be really helpful, especially if you have anxiety or if you struggle to switch off. Pillows, it's very much like your mattress. You need to see what works for your profile and your sleeping, your sleep type, as in if you're a back sleeper, side sleeper, front sleeper. That's the same. Yeah, with your mattress, there's no one size fits all. I'd recommend going into a store which has a bed match system, which essentially fits you for a bed. So you go in there, you sleep on a bed, it's got all these electrodes underneath, and then they're like, yep, your profile is ... You should look for these mattresses.
It's like
And
athlete's foot, but for mattresses.
Yeah.
Cool.
Outside of that, light, like blackout blinds can be really helpful. Obviously no technology, including your phone. And if people are like, but how am I going to wake up? Very, very simple. Get an alarm clock.
Yeah.
Technically, it's technology, though.
Nah, get a Google one that you just talk to, and then you don't have to look at it.
That's literally technology.
That's literally blue light. That thing is bright.
Cover it with a sheet. I don't know.
Buy a rooster.
Not a digital one,
Like an
one
analog
that-
one.
like an analog, like
Yeah.
tick tick.
Oh,
Oh, can you imagine? Can you imagine, Olivia? You haven't got an analog alarm clock, do you? You're like, yeah, I do. Look at this.
I'm obsessed with like lights, and I've got a whole Philips Hue light system that wakes me up in the morning.
Yeah, no, the smart lights are great as well. But the reason I don't have an alarm clock is because I have this. I don't know if you've seen on my Instagram stories, but I live just on top of Bondi Beach, not like.
I saw that in your story this afternoon. I was extremely jealous.
And upset.
So I don't have curtains. So my room is extremely bright, and I don't have curtains. And although I use an eye mask, I find that I naturally will wake up around, probably around like 5:30, and the light at that time stimulates me enough to get up. But also I like to get up at that time. It's in my brain.
Them lion
I
things.
should get up. Yeah, in my brain, I should get up in the 5s. I should be outside by the 6s, and then I should be at the gym by the 7s. Like, it's just a thing.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's like, yeah, I just like.
I'm up at the
You're
5s,
speaking
and then
my
I'll
language. I
snooze
love
till the
that.
5:30s, and then snooze till the 6. And
What do you say to those people who constantly hit snooze?
Don't.
It's easier said than done for you lion types. I'm just one of those bears.
The best piece of advice to get out of bed a little easier is to expose yourself to bright light and to exercise. I know it's probably the last thing you want to do as soon as you get up, but even literally going for a walk in the sunlight, it's going to stimulate your production of serotonin, which is an awakening hormone. It's also going to suppress your levels of melatonin, the sleepiness hormone.
I'm going to put one of our studio lights on a timer. Just going to.
And then an assault bike right next to your bed. So as soon as you wake up, you're on.
can do that.
Getting the best of both worlds. Ask you a question about naps.
Yes,
I know you're
about
dying
naps,
for it,
'cause you
'cause I know
mentioned-
you have the
I
most
nap.
inappropriate naps.
No, I do not. I have a strategy for this because I nap 20 minutes. I'm a bear, so I usually nap after 2 o'clock. But I get a pillow and put it on the floor so it's not too comfortable that I can fall asleep for longer than 20 minutes. That's my strategy because if I'm in a bed, I am not getting up. And that seems to work. 20 minutes is enough, and I'm strict on getting up at the 20-minute mark, and then usually I can crack on with the afternoon. I'm really
Always?
strict. Yeah, always. Every single time. Ultra discipline.
You're in there for like an extra 40 minutes sometimes.
Yeah, no, as long as, so I've got 3 good, I like your nap style. I've got a few principles for the perfect nap.
I
1,
like this.
keep it short, less than 30 minutes. 2, keep it dark, use an eye mask. 3, keep it early, finish the nap before 3:30. So you're abiding by all of my principles, so I like it.
There you go. I like it.
We've got an eye mask you can use.
That's not appropriate enough. Oh, God. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
I have a great recommendation for a super light blocking mask on my sleep kit. And there's
sweet.
there's a little discount code for you guys as well.
Oh,
Awesome.
sweet as.
A light blocking mask.
So, as in,
yeah.
like,
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. I just had the word blue blocking mask in my head, and I was like, "What? How's that work?" Okay. Yeah, cool. That's awesome. Sweet, Olivia. Thank you so much for your time. Can you tell people where they can find you? Do you write blogs, or where can they find your blog? Where can they see your work? Where can they get in touch with you? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So best place to contact me is either via my website, which is oliviaarezzolo.com.au. And for anyone listening wanting to type it in, it's OLIVIA.
We'll put it in the bio, in the link.
Z-O-L-O. Yeah, so that's a really great space to go. So on my website, you'll see my sleep kit, which I've referred to a few times, which has my blue light glasses and recommended sleep mask. And there's also a few more products that I'm just about to add, including the sheets that I personally sleep on. Outside of that, you'll also find on my website information on my private coaching. I know we discussed that before, so there's all the info there, on my programs and my single strategy sessions as well. Something that we didn't mention that is on my website, which is of interest to you guys, because I'm going to give you guys a unique discount code for all your listeners, is enrollment for my online course called Sleep School. So that is
I'm doing it.
basically Sleep School is great. I'm so excited. So it provides you the step-by-step guide that you need to sleep better starting that very night, and you're able to enroll at any time. And you get sent all of the videos, all of the worksheets, all of the cheat sheets. And so it's very much self-paced, but you also get supported by my Facebook community as well. So that's launching in August, but I am taking enrollments and including a pre-sale discount from right now. So that's something that it would be great to enroll in if you're wanting to sleep better. And then lastly, the book is on the website as well. And lastly, if you have Instagram and so feel inclined, I would love to hear from anyone who has heard this, because I love to, just get feedback on what's been the most valuable and what you found insightful, and if you want more direction about. And of course, the my quiz is on my website as well. And if you contact me via Instagram, then I'll show you a link to that too.
Awesome. We'll have pretty much all of those links that we can.
I just have one burning question.
Here we go.
I have one burning question I just have to ask.
It better be good.
All right, so Dennis took his test the other day, and he comes in. He's like, "Guys, I'm a lion." He was so excited that he was a lion, right? And then me and Aiden got bears. So should we be striving to be a lion, or is it okay being a bear?
Yeah, being a bear is great.
Okay, sweet.
Lions are just more productive. You know.
Dennis is a pup, though.
It's a cub.
You're a lion cub.
Pup, mate.
There's no better or worse chronotype. I will say, though, lions have the most favorable health outcomes, and they statistically sleep the best.
I wish you didn't say that.
Sorry. So if you're struggling to sleep, then looking at some of the strategies on what the lions are doing could be helpful. But if you are not struggling to sleep and you are happy with how things are going, then there's no need to shift chronotypes at all. But I think, I guess for everyone on that, the best thing and the first place to start with all of this information is to take the quiz and find out your chronotype, because you also get some personalized recommendations by email. So that's a really good place to start, as all of us have done.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Are you happy?
I'm happy.
All
and
right,
then
sweet.
buy the book, read the book, and then you can make your own decisions.
Yeah. Olivia,
Thank you so much for your time.
so much.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.